Out come Cody and Arn. Lots of boos here for Cody. And Cody takes the microphone and he says, I hear you. I hear you online. I hear old managers shouting at clouds. And I heard you on Saturday night. And he describes hooking the arms for the Tiger Driver 98. And I considered hitting a different move. And I could have gone back on my word.
Okay, first of all, like what move?
He's referring to the pedigree here that he could have.
Yeah,
hit.
I thought so. Yeah, I suppose that's what everybody thought too.
Which I think went through most people's mind when he hooked the arms on Saturday.
But has he used the pedigree in the past, or is it just his way of being a heel? Like,
well, that's his explanation here. Is that if I wanted to go heel, that was the easy way to do it. But all of this, he says, like doing something like the pedigree or going back on my word to challenge for the title is so easy. I could do that without any thought. It would work, but I'm not going to. I am going to play the longer game here because that's not me.
There's a lot of subtext here, and a lot of, I would say, like kind of kayfabe breaking subtext in a promo like this as well, that I don't know if this would have translated directly to, like, you know, your average TNT viewer watching it. Like but not to say like it didn't need to happen or it shouldn't have happened, but I would say this was, I can see people being a little bit confused if they're not, like, you know, following online discussions or knowing exactly what he was referring to.
I mean, he didn't bring up the demo, so that's
no,
we didn't go that to that extent here. But you know, he explains, if you're going to boo the narrative, the man who signs the checks is also the one that built this bank. And then all of a sudden he tossed his shoes away into the crowd.
So, well, everybody's giving their shoes away. Everybody's giving their Jordans away in this company.
Yeah, step into my shoes. He says, I've grown up in front of all of you. He talked about his hot wife, his brother, who is a Hall of Famer, who's probably better than him, and a father who, no matter how long he lives, he will never live up to the cultural significance of Dusty. And he uses all of this as reasons for, I will not turn. I love you people, and I have for my entire life. I apologize to the Nightmare family. I apologize to Arn, who thought I went Hollywood. And Arn, it's an honor to stand here in the ring with you. You were right. And before he can finish, Andrade walks out, and Andrade states how the people hate him, but Andrade doesn't care what they think. So he doesn't bother trying to fight them. And calls Cody stupid and has a stupid tattoo. And that Cody, if he wants, he makes him an offer that you can be my little bitch. The lights go out. Malachi Black is in the ring. He delivers the miss to Cody, and Black and Andrade attack, including Jose the Translator taking out Arn, who was not packing here. But instead, Pac was ready to come out and fire as he came to the aid of Cody and Arn, and it ended with Pac clearing the ring, sitting cross-legged, and just throwing those middle fingers out.
Let's
a lot going on in this segment.
Yeah, let's go backwards here. I love the end scene here. Pac looked awesome. I think he's building off of some really good momentum coming off of the buzz of the Pac versus Andrade match. In these past few weeks, he's really felt wonderful. Like in this segment where he just kind of came out here and cleaned house, giving the double bird, it finally feels like there's some momentum behind him, and I hope they can kind of keep that going. Andrade, I thought this was the best English-speaking promo I've heard from Andrade. Came out here, didn't have a ton to say, but what he did say, everything hit. First of all, making fun of Cody's neck tattoo, like it just sounds really funny coming from him. And then you know, calling him his bitch. Yeah, it's an easy line, but again, you know, I've heard some pretty bad English-speaking Andrade promos, and it's extremely difficult to try to pick up a different language, but to also have to like do it with the type of charisma that is expected to speak that different language in. And I thought he absolutely had it here, so I thought this was the best I've heard of him. But this Cody promo, we kind of have to unpack. Like, I don't know if I really enjoyed it. You know, his delivery is fantastic. And no doubt, like on word, like if this gets covered on Roads to the Top, they'll frame this with like people crying in the background or something. They'll treat this like it's something great. But watching it live, I found myself, who covers this show, I was a little confused about what he was talking about to start. You have to
He's expecting a lot of the audience, and that might sound like silly, but I mean, it's like for those that know what he's talking about, I think it's like it's
how
a
many
compelling...
people would that be though? How many people watching the match last week were thinking that he was specifically teasing the pedigree, even though he's never done it before in the past, and that the Tiger Driver 98 was specifically done because just to kind of tease the pedigree?
I mean, it's what went through my mind watching it, but I think like...
But did you equate pedigree to being a heel?
Right. I would be interested to have seen if he did that. Well, that crowd would have booed the shit out of him if he did that, but they were going to boo just about anything.
Yeah, that's true. You're
I
right.
would say the pedigree is probably going to be received in most places as a heel move. But some might cheer it just because it's Cody doing a finisher that we're familiar with and it's something different.
It would have definitely been a heel move. But we're also kind of now playing with the idea that heels and baby faces are a thing in this supposedly real sport where like you're just going there to compete. So what does kind of being a good guy and being a bad guy have to do with it? So, and ultimately that's what this promo was about. I'm not going to be a bad guy. I'm not going to be a villain. And that's just, I would say, a very difficult line to straddle when you're trying
it's a tightrope, but I think you can do it without this becoming WCW 2000. I think that this is like, I could change my ways, and within the body of the show, it's I take on a darker persona and I'm going to cheat and I'm going to go back on my word that I've given you. And to the deeper understanding, like, yeah, this is, I could change my character and the audience is going to, I'm going to give in to the audience and they are totally going to, it'll work for me. This would be a good career move for me to do this, but I'm going to push back on that.
Okay, fine. But is this in line with Malachi Black has been saying in his promo? Malachi Black is saying that he won this feud because he managed to turn the Nightmare family on him. So Cody now is saying that like Cody's almost kind of playing like a different type of storyline where he's saying that I'm not going to turn. And that, I guess, is he saying that you didn't succeed, Malachi, in turning me to the dark side?
Yeah, maybe you're giving some leeway there to Cody if you enjoy this, but it can play into that. Like Cody turning is kind of what Malachi said to do was destroy this Nightmare family, including Cody compromising himself for this as a result of those defeats and turning.
Yeah. I just think
it's not going to be for everyone, but this is going to be like the difficulty that sometimes people will scoff at. You know, it's a silly comparison, okay? But Andrade, it's like he came out. It was a very simple promo, and it was
way more
few
effective.
Key lines. Exactly, simple but effective. It wasn't the deepest promo in the world, but guess what? It was a well-received one. So sometimes going for the easier story is going to reach the most amount of people that are going to react to bitch. And I think Cody is certainly trying to do a lot more layered storytelling, and that's going to alienate some people that are not following along or just think this is way too beyond what I want out of a wrestling story and mixing in character with reality.
And I might be in that camp.
Yeah, and that's I think that continues kind of that divide on where people fall on Cody. But I think as long as you are getting atmospheres like we got on Saturday, and like Cody, his matches feel big, and I think that's the end result is that you're hoping for.
Do you think the boos stop for Cody at this point?
No, I think they're going to be still mixed in there because they've really addressed it. That it's, I think, going to be a lot of copycat audiences that you're kind of, I think, almost instructing the audience to kind of take in that Cena vein that this is the guy that we boo. And maybe trying to create that push and pull with your audience that some cheer, some boo. And it might work and it might just be disastrous over time. Like it's novel now. It might not be in a couple months.
Well, I mean, AEW has not really been known for its crowds like turning on storyline and going against, I think, what they're trying to present. Because AEW has often pivoted to kind of follow what the audience wants. So it'll be really interesting to see, like, again, how they continue this Cody character. If he's adamant about not turning, maybe it'll ultimately discourage the audience from going along if they know that their demands are kind of falling on deaf ears. So he remains certainly an interesting character on this show.